Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Felicity Deaf-Fombelle. Today marks the 75th anniversary at the Battle of Chongjiu, which took place on the 29th and 30th of October 1950 during the early months of the Korean War. Following the Battle of Chongjiu only days earlier, the 3rd Battalion Royal Australian Regiment continued its advance northwest towards the Yalu River. Chongjiu marked the northernmost point reached by Australian Battalion during the Korean War. 6 miles south of Chongjiu, 3 RAR encountered a sizable North Korean force supported by Soviet-made T-34 tanks, which were dug in on the high ground either side of the main road. Led skillfully by their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Green, the men of 3 RAR began a determined and coordinated assault. The cost would be high. At Chongjiu, 9 Australians were killed and 30 wounded. Soon we will hear the story of one Australian who died there. We are honoured to acknowledge Mr. Sean Kelly, Chair of the European Delegation for Relations with Australia and New Zealand, Member of the European Parliament, accompanied by His Excellency Mr. Gabriel Viston, European Union Ambassador to Australia, and Mr. Michael Gaylor, Member of the European Parliament, accompanied by members of the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Australia and the Pacific. We warmly welcome Mr. Patrick Delgais, Deputy President of the Return and Services League of Australia, ACT branch. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Prince Alfred College visiting from Kent Town, South Australia, students on behalf of Hayfield Primary School from Victoria, and students on behalf of Irimple Primary School from Victoria. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Raymond Blythe. Ray Bllythe was born on the 3rd of August 1923 in the inner Melbourne suburb of Moonee Ponds, one of 7 children born to Thomas and Isabel Blythe. Young Ray attended primary school in Melbourne. When he was 8 years old, his mother Isabel died suddenly at home at the age of 45, leaving his father Thomas to raise the family. Ray went on to work as a spray painter. After the Second World War began, Ray Bllythe joined the militia in late December 1941. Called up for full-time duty in January 1942, he was posted to the 26th Motor Regiment, located in the Geelong suburb of Belmont. He struggled with full-time service and went absent without leave on the 10th of May. After his return towards the end of September, he was court-martialed, fined heavily, and incarcerated for a month as punishment. By the time Blythe returned to his unit, it had relocated to Mullewa in Western Australia, where on the 18th of December 1942, Blythe was mobilised for service in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force. Aside from the occasional trip to hospital, Blythe remained with his unit until September 1944, when it disbanded. The same month, Blythe married Betty Botton at Moonee Ponds while on leave. He awarded himself some honeymoon time, spending much of the next month absent without leave, and again was fined heavily for his trouble. In late October, Blythe was posted to a training battalion and spent much of the next 4 months in training. In early March 1945, he was posted to the Jungle Warfare Training Centre in Queensland in preparation for active overseas service. Private Blythe embarked from Brisbane on the transport ship Canberra on the 2nd of May, arriving at Morotai, an island in the Dutch East Indies, present-day Indonesia, a little over 1 week later. He remained on Morotai until mid-August, when he was sent to the nearby seaport city of Balikpapan, where he joined the 2nd 31st Infantry Battalion. With the Second World War in its last throes, Blythe was not involved in combat. Returning to Australia in January 1946, he was demobilised and returned to Moonee Ponds and his job as a spray painter. After years of tension, the Korean War began on the 25th of June 1950, when the Northern Korean People's Army invaded South Korea in a coordinated attack along the 38th parallel, the line dividing communist North Korea from the Republic of Korea in the south. The Australian government committed the 3rd Battalion, the Royal Australian Regiment, then based in Japan, to the conflict, but 3 RAR was at about half its required strength. A volunteer force known as K-Force was raised for service, predominantly consisting of Second World War veterans. Blythe enlisted in K-Force at Royal Park on the 8th of August 1950. By then his marriage had broken down and he and Betty had separated. He and other recruits flew out of Sydney for Japan on the 2nd of September. Joining 3 RAR a few days later, he became a member of 11 Platoon D Company. 3 RAR sailed from Kure on the 27th of September, disembarking at Busan the following day and being attached to the British 27th Infantry Brigade. After a few weeks of clearing patrols, 3 RAR moved to the 38th parallel to take part in the invasion of North Korea, which began on the 10th of October. Over the next 3 weeks, the battalion was part of the rapid advance towards the Chinese border. Blythe took part in his first major battle on the 22nd of October in an apple orchard northwest of Pyongyang. 3 days later, his company took part in securing a crossing under fire over the Taryong River near Chongjiu to allow US Sherman tanks to cross. The wider action cost 3 RAR, 8 dead and 22 wounded. The dead were laid to rest in a Christian churchyard in Pakchon. The advance continued. On the 29th of October, 3 RAR encountered a North Korean force supported by dug-in T-34 tanks, blocking their advance to Chongjiu. Supported by US tanks, D Company assaulted the southern ridge under heavy fire, capturing the high ground while A Company secured the northern ridge and B Company took the centre. During the night and into the next morning, North Korean forces launched fierce counterattacks to break the Australian lines, but 3 RAR held firm. 9 Australians were killed, mainly by heavy machine gun fire, and another 30 wounded. Among the dead was Private Raymond Blythe, who was 27 years old. Blythe and his fallen comrades were laid to rest in the Christian churchyard in Pakchon, North Korea, alongside those killed at Chongjiu days earlier. Blythe's remains were later reinterred in the United Nations Cemetery at Busan, where they lie today. Blythe's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among the 340 Australians who died as a result of their service during the Korean War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Raymond Blythe, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.